Hello everyone, Mike here. So I haven't done a live stream in ages, so I thought it was about time I finally did another live stream. So I did do a few gaming live streams, which some of you might have seen. I'm probably not going to do too many of those, just every now and again. If I even continue doing them, I might not, or at least not on this channel. The Lone Wolf is here. Hello, thank you very much for coming along. How are you today? Saying we got 3 people here. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like. It helps the stream out a lot. 4 people here now. So a lot has been going on recently in my greenhouse. So much has been changing. But I'll wait until a few more people get here before I talk about that. But I've also recently been helping a landscape gardener, and I'll again talk to you a bit more about that later on. Quick Smoke is here. Hello, thank you very much for coming along. My friend's also here. Thank you very much, Ben. Appreciate that. Please, if you haven't already, remember to hit the like. It really helps the live stream out. So David Carlisle is here. Hello. My Little Bit of Peace is here. Hello. Thank you very much for coming along. So how is everybody today? Anybody been doing anything exciting? Green Raven is here. Hello. Working out in the yard, and we'll try to follow along. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nick's here. Hello. Helen Dixon's here. Hello. Thank you very much for coming along. My Family Garden's here. Hello. Thank you very much for coming along. So what seeds for the gardeners that are here? What seeds have you all been sowing? Any interesting seeds? Anything a bit different? I've recently sown some Mimosa pudica seeds. Excuse my dog. Eating leftovers. Fair enough. Yeah, no worries, Monty. Thanks for coming along, though. I appreciate that. Major Sea Salt is here. Hello. Thank you very much for coming along. How are you today? Putting stuff up on earlier. Sounds cool. The dog wants to get, yeah, he wants to be YouTube famous. Steal the show. They're here against their will, as you can tell. Appreciate that, Major. Yeah, so now I've got a few people here. I've recently been given the opportunity to help at a garden show, basically, in April. So not only will I be helping set this up, sorry about the dog, I'll just let him out a minute, otherwise he'll be barking all live stream. Sorry about that. Aussie J Gamers here. Hello. But yeah, so as I was saying, not only have I got the opportunity to help at this, which would be a really good experience, I'll also be working with a few different people, doing some landscaping. I've got a few pictures of that I'll probably put up at the end of one of my next videos, just sort of what we've been doing. So that's been really interesting, learning about permaculture, because although a lot of us try to do permaculture in the gardening community, it's in Wadebridge, Nick, so Cornwall, at the Royal Cornwall Showgrounds. But I've also got these wildflower turf mats that we're going to be using for that, which have currently taken over my greenhouse. I'll be uploading a video of that probably tomorrow, actually, because my greenhouse has been completely taken over by these. Currently, there's only, I think, daisies on them, but there's supposed to be 20 different varieties of seeds on them. And unlike most wildflower meadows and mixes like that, they'd be 20% wildflower seeds and then 80% grass seed. These are 100% wildflower seeds. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll do okay in the show once we get it set up. We're thinking of having, we've just gotten some logs that we're going to try and propagate some mushrooms on. So we're going to be soaking those in water tomorrow, hopefully. And the idea of that is it just encourages the mushrooms to grow. We're going to build a sort of wall out of these logs. Hopefully it will look quite good. Basically, the theme of the show garden is back to nature. So all sorts of things that would encourage wildlife within the garden we're going to be incorporating. Thank you very much to everybody who's come along already. I've got 9 people here, 9 likes. So I appreciate that. But yeah, as I said, I'll upload a video of that tomorrow because there's quite a lot to talk about of that, and not everything can be explained without actually seeing it. So I'll probably upload a video of that tomorrow. So how is everybody? Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. Everybody's just saying hello to each other. So I wasn't going to do a live stream, but Monty managed to, that's My Family Garden, he managed to convince me, because other than the gaming ones I'd done recently, I've sort of lost my interest in doing live streams, mainly because I just haven't had anything to talk about. And within this past week, so much has been going on. I have so much to talk to you all about. But that's the main thing, is that I'm going to be helping at this, helping set up a show garden at Wadebridge. I'm really looking forward to that because that will be quite a good experience. Yeah, Nick's saying he's fed up with the rain. I think everybody is at this point. The polytunnel that I help at, water's come right up through the middle, completely flooded the inside. There's mud everywhere. But obviously the main concern is that it could be spreading disease and things like that. So we're really worried about, those sorts of effects. So we've been building, they've built a few benches now to try and keep everything off the ground, just in case we have another downpour, because basically there's a hedge and then there's their polytunnel, and the field at the other side of the hedge is slightly higher than the polytunnel. So when all the water drains out, it just floods the polytunnel straight away. Thank you, Quick Smoke. I appreciate that. So we've been trying to get everything off the ground today. All sorts of contamination. Yeah, they do. And that's the main concern, really, is just the contamination. Dirt can be cleaned up, but if the plants are all dying, yes, it is, Nick. My chicken pen currently, it's like walking on ice in there all the time, just mud absolutely everywhere. And it's beginning to get like that in my garden as well, where the dogs run every day. So going to be adding some sand to the garden, hopefully. And then for the chicken pen, mix of sand and then wood chips on top along the paths, just so that I can get around without slipping over. And that actually leads me to another thing I was going to mention tonight. So there's a chicken farm near us with free-range hens. And for those of you who don't know, when hens get to around 2 years old, they don't lay as frequently as they used to. So what a lot of battery farms would do is just kill them. But this chicken farm near us, they sell eggs. Instead, they give the chickens away after 2 years. So I've gotten the opportunity to get 25 of these chickens. I'll either be collecting them tomorrow or at some point next week in the evening. And what I've done is I had this little shed basically in my chicken pen. And over the last few days, I've been clearing all of that out, because I used to keep my feed in it, because there's a second shed in my chicken pen, which currently, it's a miracle it hasn't fallen apart in all of the storms we've had. I reckon one more storm will probably finish it off. All of the panels have been falling away, and I had all of my feed in there. And one of the glass panels broke, and everything inside got completely drenched. So I moved it into this other shed. And now today I've been trying to clear everything out of it again, and I've only just put them in there. So that wasn't very fun, but I managed to get it all out. And then I've built a 2-part door. So the top half is obviously for me to get in, and the bottom half would stay. So David Carlisle was saying 25 hens, where to sign up. Green Raven saying she has 8 pallets outside chicken pen, just to stay out of the worst of the mud. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do something like that, because it is getting really bad. Green Raven saying, trying to get things straightened up, and for when I can sow seeds, need doors on the polytunnel. A lot of people have been receiving a lot of damage on their polytunnels Currently, I have a greenhouse, so that isn't a worry, but I've now been given another 2 polytunnel hoops. So I've now got 3 polytunnel hoops. Hopefully, we're going to get one up this year. And I think my last chat live stream I spoke about potentially using these green covers. I've done a lot more research in them, and I found a company online called First Polytunnels. They're recommended to me by a few people who have their own polytunnels set up. And I've been looking at these green covers. So to explain them to anybody who doesn't know, a regular polytunnel cover, they're normally white or clear, in the summer, it gets so hot that your plants within the polytunnel just completely burn. So you need to then put up netting to prevent this. Green covers provide a 60% shade that's built in. So it is really designed for, shade loving plants. However, from what I can find out, it does work for just regular plants as well, because it's no different to putting shading up in your greenhouse during the summer. So Nick's saying it's good that giving the chickens a second chance. Exactly, yeah. Fortunately, these ones wouldn't be killed if they didn't get rid of them. They just eventually would, give them away to people. If you're interested, Nick, in getting some chickens, have a look at the British Hen Welfare Trust. I've done a bit of volunteering with them before, but basically they rescue chickens from is my live stream buffering, or is it just my phone? I think it's just my phone. Disconnected from the Wi-Fi so it doesn't drain all the internet. But yeah, so the British Hen Welfare Trust, they go to these battery farms and then rescue all of these 2-year-old chickens that would normally just be sent to slaughter. So if you're interested in getting some, I recommend, they normally sell them for about £5, which is what they pay to get the chickens. So I highly recommend looking into that, because the ones I'm getting are free. So Aussie J Gamer saying he doesn't know any of this stuff. Yeah, don't worry, Aussie J. Don't feel you have to stay along. I know, obviously, the people in the gardening community, again, if I'm ever doing a gaming live stream, don't feel any of you have to stay along. I completely understand when the two sort of clash. So don't worry about that. Yeah, so Alternative Smallholding is saying that the British Hen Welfare Trust are amazing. That's who they rescue from. Yeah, I think I got a T-shirt in my wardrobe when I used to do a bit of volunteering for them. But in the end, we had to stop because it was when we had the avian flu, and on the farm anyway, we've got to be getting tractors going to and fro, and there's a lot of people going to and fro. And basically we had to sterilize our shoes every time we went past, which is fair enough, but it was then sort of getting in our way, trying to get through and doing other stuff. So in the end, we did stop doing it. But I think we helped rehome several hundred hens in the end, which was really good. And I actually got a few, but sadly the fox got those a couple of years ago. So Alternative Smallholding is saying that they're gaming gardeners too. Yeah, I've only done 2. I think I've actually put them on unlisted for a minute, as I was having some issues with them playing. Well, that one person said anyway. But I'll try and put them back on public. I don't know what went wrong with them. But as well, I was worried a little bit about current viewers of the gardening community sort of being scared off by it. So I have removed them. Yeah, Aussie J's a gamer. So Alternative Smallholding, Aussie J does Star Wars Battlefront 2 live streams. If you watch his channel, you'll see somebody who's good at gaming. I'm awful at gaming. Oh, so Nick's not allowed them on the allotment. I find them quite easy, to be fair, Nick, but it isn't for everybody. I recommend, if you've got a small garden, maybe just having 3, like a trio of pecans. They're so easy to keep, and they have really good eggs. If you do a lot of baking, their eggs are perfect for baking. And recently, within the past month or so, my eggs have gone from pretty much tasting like a store-bought egg to tasting, I can't really explain it. They've got a stronger, nicer flavor, but also they've gone really orange the last few months. I have no idea why, because some of them I've had nearly a year, but just for some reason they've recently started tasting a lot nicer. The Nintendo fans. Yeah, I haven't played a Nintendo for ages. I should try and dig mine out one day. So we've got 8 people here, 12 likes, going for 15 minutes. I think that's a record for me, 12 likes in 15 minutes. So thank you very much to everybody who's come along so far. So on Tuesday, I sowed the first of my seeds. And the day after, my greenhouse was taken over by these wildflower mats, which was typical. But still, I think I got enough room for the seedlings when they do grow. But I didn't anticipate that any of them to germinate as quick as they did. So I've sown some moneymaker tomatoes, some aubergine, I can't remember the variety, some geraniums, and then just a random packet of basil that I found. And a lot of the tomatoes and a lot of the aubergines and geraniums all today have germinated. Normally, especially with tomatoes, I find it takes around 2 weeks for them to germinate. So I think it's because I've got them in our greenhouse, in our conservatory, sorry, which the temperature doesn't fluctuate as much. It's also warmer in there, gets better light. But mainly, I've put a heat mat under them, and it has made a difference. So if anybody doesn't have a heat mat already, I highly recommend it. So alternative small holding is saying shop eggs taste of nothing compared to your own, like homegrown veg. Exactly, yeah. It was just really weird because for ages mine weren't tasting any different. And then suddenly they sort of just completely changed. And they are amazing now. So Nick's saying he's not starting his tomatoes until March this year. Always have problems with them getting leggy before and get them out. Yeah, I would. For myself, I'm going to. But last year I was too late because I grow and sell plants. For anybody who doesn't know, last year I was too late with it, and what ended up happening was I had hundreds of tomato plants, but it had gone past the point when people wanted to buy them, and I ended up having to just throw away hundreds. And I found that a lot of people as well that I know who grow and sell plants had a similar issue with other vegetables. So this year, I've started all of mine early, and my plan is basically I've got a tinfoil plate at the back to try and help reflect a bit of light. But also, our conservatory does get an awful lot of light, so I'm hoping they'll be all right. If not, we've also got our windows open in the conservatory for most of the day. So something that helps with leggy plants is a breeze. Helps them to toughen their stem up. So then even if it's leggy, you can just plant it lower to the ground again, and that does help. So alternative small holding saying they do tomatoes in a heated propagator and move them once they're up. Yeah, I think I'm going to be moving mine in a day or two because they're really coming on. Even today, this morning, they were just the root really was just popping out of the soil, and by the end of the day, most of them that were popping up this morning have completely finished coming out of the seed and are beginning to grow. It's amazing how quickly they've grown just with the heat mat. So David Carlisle's asking if I feed my hens laying food. Well, I was for quite a while, and then recently I've been given a bag of organic corn because it was out of date in our shop. So I've been actually just feeding them corn. They do have layered pellets in their feeders, but I've been giving them loads of corn in the mornings, and they haven't really been touching the layers pellets. And a lot of people would be against this because they do need the layers pellets. because it does contain things that they need, very high in protein, things like that. But I have also been digging over the soil for them so they can get to the worms. And actually, they've been having they've been getting too much protein because their poos are really discolored due to too much protein, and also quite runny, again due to protein. Sorry for the added detail there. But if anybody does get that, it's likely just because they're having too much protein. But there's nothing wrong with that, especially in the winter months. They can really use it. So I've just been giving them corn, and I think that's the cause of the difference. Thanks, Aussie J. No, I didn't really have a clue. Alternative small holdings are asking, what varieties of tomatoes do I grow? They found themselves that they sell when they do in the store, but they're different if they're different. Also, leggy tomatoes can be planted up to their leaves. Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. It's just planting them up to the leaves and hoping that the rest of it roots. They normally do. So last year I grew Moneymaker. What was the other one? Gardener's Delight and a yellow variety. I can't remember the name of it now. But this year I'm probably just going to grow a yellow variety, Moneymaker, and maybe Alyssa Craig. Oh, Anna grew Alyssa Craig last year, and they all did very well. Nitrogen Fix No Diggers here. Thank you very much for coming along, Carl. Appreciate that. Nick's Allotment Diaries here. Still saying he's got Crimson Crush, Indigo Cherry, and a variety called Red Dragon. I've heard of Crimson Crush. I haven't heard of the other two. I'll have to look into those. Do they have quite a decent fruit, or do you not know yet? Have you grown any of them before? Helen Dixon's saying, thank you. Hope to learn a lot this year. Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much for coming along. I really appreciate that. So alternative small holdings saying corn doesn't have any nutrition for them and can for foie gras. That will be why your eggs have changed, as the corn will be colouring them more. Yeah, but also, Jazz, they've been the flavour of them has been a lot better. Obviously, they do have the layers pellets as well that they've been eating, but as opposed to me giving them corn every now and again, I've been giving them corn daily, and it has improved the flavour. The color, to be fair, less so. It's less dramatic, but the flavor itself has really done well. I'm not just feeding them corn, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I have been being careful not to feed them too much for that reason. But thank you. Although I didn't actually know about the corn changing the color. I thought that was marigolds that changed the color due to some chemical that's in them. So has anybody had any issues with mites last year? I was actually very lucky. I don't think I saw a single mite last year. Had absolutely no trouble at all with them. This year, I probably won't be so lucky, especially because I'm expanding my flock. Well, I'm actually doubling it with these 25 hens that I'm going to be getting. So I let my cat in a minute ago, and that was a mistake because now she's crying. All of my pets want their say today. So Nick's saying he's grown Crimson Crush. They are blight resistant and tasty. Also grown the Indigo Cherry, have an intense taste. Not tried the Red Dragon. Picked them up at Malvern. I wish I could have gotten to Malvern, but it just worked out in the end that I didn't have the time to do it. Didn't mean to lecture. No worry, Jazz. I do appreciate that because I didn't know about the corn. And thank you for letting me know because, yeah, I could have quite easily led to them getting to getting them fat, basically feeding them McDonald's every day. We only do corn before bed as it swells and fills them. Also, it warms them up. Yeah, I used to do it before bed, but then I started getting that they'd leave a bit. So I've been doing it in the morning recently, but it was really because of the bad weather. And then I had the spare bag of corn, so I thought, you know what, I'll just give them a bit of extra in the morning because then they can sort of warm themselves through the day. But if it's better before bed, then I'll definitely change it back again and feed them before bed. I didn't know that about keeping them warm at night. Usually bugs and grass improve the color and taste of the eggs. So that might be why then that I've been having good eggs, because I've been digging over the soil for them pretty much every time I go in. Nitrogen Fix No Dig saying he's grown Russian Black and a variety called Solano Chocolate. So are they larger fruiting varieties then, I'm assuming, Carl? Aussie J Game is saying meow. Yeah, she she followed me up here because she wanted to come in, and then like the dogs as well, they did, and then literally as soon as I closed the door, they wanted to leave. So alternative small holding saying, if I want some unusual seeds to try, let me know. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm always up for growing some weird and wonderful plants. Poultry Pal is here. Hello, thank you very much for coming along. How are you today? Of tomatoes, yeah. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. In the US, whole corn is advised in evening in cold weather. Digestion warms them up. Okay, I'll change that then tonight. Oh, they're small varieties. Okay. Laura's saying our chickens don't care for corn. Really? Oh, mine go absolutely mad for it. Every day I go in the chicken pen now, even if I've got the dogs there, they'll be following me and the dogs around. So perhaps I should give them in the evening then, it's sounding like. So thank you very much. I will change that. So Nick's Little Diary is saying growing for sale, best for growing well-known varieties. Yeah, I currently grow for sale Alyssa Craig, Gardener's Delight, and Moneymaker. But I do have a nice bit of space at the back of my green. Well, I normally would, but I've got this seed turf in currently, but that'll be gone by April. But yeah, I like to then grow a few, just sort of for myself at the back of the greenhouse, because it's got really good soil there. Because to be fair, it's the only bed I do maintenance to, because the other beds are very close to the glass and digging is very difficult. So I don't normally bother with the front two beds. We sold about 120 last year, and the fancy ones went first. That's another thing. It depends where you are, really, and it depends growing trends. A lot of people are open to growing new varieties and then saving the seed of those new varieties so they can keep growing their own. But then a lot of people as well would just prefer the ones that they know. So maybe currently I do just grow common varieties, but perhaps I will grow a few, maybe 20 or so, just different varieties just to try it. And then, but yeah, I'd agree with Nick and Carl normally, but I will give that a go. Green Raven saying, has anybody grown Hamburg parsley? Hers did not got hers growing. From the Geek Den is here. Hello, thank you very much for coming along. Yeah, it's going good, thanks. Are you doing a live stream later tonight? And also what time? I'll try and come along to that if I can. So we've been going for 29 minutes. We've got 11 people here and 16 likes. If you haven't already, please hit the like. It does help the live stream out. But I think everybody here has already hit the like, so thank you very much. Okay, so From the Geek Den will be live in about an hour. Hello, cat. Yeah, she likes to talk. So alternative small holding is going now. Thank you very much for coming along. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll show you the cat. So here she is. She's called Rosie. She's only got 3 legs. And she's probably going to, she's going to sit on my keyboard. Yeah, here she is. She's 16, but she follows me literally everywhere, and she likes to talk. My dogs are absolutely petrified of her. Yeah, thank you, Jazz. But she has, like all cats, a really, really annoying habit of lying on any open books that I've got, especially when I'm actually trying to read them, because my room, I stupidly set it up so that I've got bean bags and tables and stuff right next to my desk. Currently, I've moved my desk to the back of the room, but normally it's a bit closer to the window. And she's very, very good at climbing, despite only having 3 legs. And she is 16, but she will get up, jump from all sorts of things to try and get onto the desk, and then just lie down in front of me. And I don't have the heart to move her, so I just leave her. Green Raven's saying she looks very much like her own cat. Yeah, she's we see a lot of very similar cats to her, and the amount of times we've seen a cat on our top road and thought it was her. Yeah. And Den saying that he looks like his neighbour's cat. Yeah, they are. So Nick's asking what happened with her missing leg. She, I think she tore some ligaments in her leg, and there was nothing they could do to replace it or to fix it. So they could either just leave it there, which would have obviously gotten in her way, or take it off. So we decided the best thing, because obviously she was living in our yard for a while, so having just a useless leg essentially would have just gotten in her way and dragged and gotten lots of infections. So we just decided it was easier to have her leg completely removed, because she had no use in it basically. And then she lived in the yard still for another 3 years, but then she's recently moved down into our house and quite happy. Poultry Pal saying got to come off. Thank you very much for coming along, Poultry Pal. I appreciate that. And Carl's going now as well. Again, thank you very much for coming along. I appreciate that. Yeah, she does get around really well, Nick, despite, only having 3 legs. You wouldn't think she can jump a 6-foot fence. Well, climb, not really jump. But yeah, she's a very good climber. Yeah, thank you very much for coming along, Poultry Pal. I appreciate that. So another thing I was going to talk to you about tonight was some perennial vegetables I've recently gotten. So currently, I've been given several cuttings of perennial kale, and I'm trying to root those in the greenhouse. And I've also been given some bulbs, which are, when they flower, their flower stalk is very similar to asparagus, and you can actually eat it. So I've also planted those in one of my raised beds, because basically everything in my greenhouse has been moved out into my little brick patio. And my onions that I had in the ground against the back wall, I had to pull all of those out. I've replanted about half of them by the cherry tree outside of the greenhouse, and then the other half, including my garlic and broad beans, have been planted in my large meter squared polytunnel raised bed. Sorry, I'm trying to read comments and talk. Yeah, it is sad, Aussie J. But she does get around very well still. And for some reason follows me around all the time, even though I've got the dogs, which she completely despises. But like I said, they are petrified of her, so that one's always funny. If she's lying on my bed when the dogs come in. Is that the famous Taunton Dean kale? I know that I was told that it can be worth quite a bit, this kale. It can live up to 30 years, and it is a good plant to sell. So Den's saying the neighbour's cat's just turned up. That's the thing with cats; they're the most unloyal thing in the world. But being on the farm, there's not really many other places for them to go. So because our neighbour's got cats, and our cats and the neighbour's cats don't really get on, so that's that. And there isn't really anybody else for them to live with that's nearby anyway. So, and we've only now got one who actually roams around on the farm, because we've got a 19-year-old cat, and then the 16-year-old cat, which I just shown you, she's called Rosie, and we only got one other that roams the farm. So we don't really have one that goes stray, Den, but yeah. Sarah's here. Hello, thank you very much for coming along. So, and another thing actually that I've recently gotten is a variety of Griselinia. So obviously you've got your regular Griselinia, but also I don't actually have them yet. I've placed an order for some hybrid Griselinia, which basically have accelerated growth. So I'm going to be giving those a go soon, because currently the Griselinia I have take ages to grow, and by the time they're actually big enough to sell, it's been about 4 years. So I'm hoping this new variety will grow a lot quicker than the current one, so I'll be able to sell them a bit sooner. But yes, Laura, I do think it is the Taunton Dean Kale, although I'm not 100% sure. I have to double check that at some point. So we've been going for 37 minutes, got 9 people here and 16 likes. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like. It does help the live stream. So we've got Aussie J Gamer's still here, Geek Den's still here, Laura's still here, Nick's still here. Who else is still here? I think that's it. Or maybe there's some more people lurking in the background. So hello, anybody else who hasn't said hello in the chat yet. So one of the last things I wanted to mention tonight was David Carlisle's here. Hello. Thank you for still being here. But yeah, so another thing I wanted to talk about was podcasts. So I've recently been introduced to gardening podcasts and things like that, because other than Gardener's Question Time on the radio, I didn't really listen to anything like that. I'd mainly just sort of, get Spotify and just listen to music like that. But recently I've been listening to podcasts, and I'd actually recommend a few now, because I have learned quite a lot of these from these podcasts, and you can then, listen to these while you're working out in the greenhouse or polytunnel, or just in the garden in general, so that you can save a bit of time and you don't have to sit down and read books. Which, although you can get a much more specific information, sometimes it's just nice to be able to listen to something while you're working, and then if you can actually gain something from it, that's a bonus. So a few that I'd recommend, first would be Roots and All podcast. You should be able to get any of these on, I think it's called Apple Podcasts, or just if you're on the Android, go into the App Store, you should be able to find a decent podcasting app on there. So that's the first one. And if you're interested in permaculture, a really good one, well, the two actually that I recommend, Permaculture Voices is the first one, and I think it's called Growing Wild is another one. They talk about permaculture a lot in that. So I'd recommend those if you're like me and like to listen to something while you're out in the garden. Check those 3 out. Like I said, they should be on any good podcasting app. So either Apple Podcasts or iTunes Podcasts, but I don't know what it's called. I've not got an Apple phone. or just on the Android. Go into the App Store, type in podcasts. It should come up with loads of apps for you to choose from there. But yeah, it is really useful because you can be obviously learning things about plants while you work. Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting when I found it out. So yeah, I do recommend checking it out if you've got a spare 5 minutes or something. I recommend starting with the Roots and All podcast. That's the one that I was recommended to start with. There's a lot of that in that. It's sort of like the RHS podcast, which you can also get on the podcasting apps. Whereas they sort of focus on individual topics or issues in each episode. And these are really good. There was one that I was listening to today talking about biochar, which is essentially charcoal, and how it can actually cure quite a lot of diseases on trees and really help trees, especially oak trees. So if you have any trees in your garden, it might be worth getting some charcoal. They recommend about no larger than 10 millimeters squared per chunk. Any smaller is a lot better. You should link all these podcasts and things in your description. Yeah, that's a good idea, Dan. Thank you. Currently, I'm just using the regular YouTube thing, so I can't actually link anything in the description, I don't think. Unless I can edit it on my phone. I don't think so. What I'll do is after the live stream, for anybody who's watching this through, or just anybody who does want to see them, after the live stream, I'll edit the live stream and put all of the links in the description to these podcasts, because I really recommend them for anybody who's interested. So I missed your live stream the other night, Nick. Are you going to be doing any more soon? And if so, when will you be doing them? So David Carlisle's got to go. No worries. Thank you very much for coming along. Give you idea for future videos. Yeah, that's another thing, Nick. The stuff that they mention in it, you'd probably be interested in these podcasts. The stuff they mention is really interesting and quite inspiring, actually, some of them, suggesting things to improve your garden in general. So yeah, it could potentially give me a few ideas as well. Yeah, thank you for coming along, David. I appreciate that. So we've been going for 43 minutes now. 10 people here, 17 likes. Thank you very much. I probably won't go for much longer because I didn't actually plan to do this live stream, but Monty managed to convince me to do the live stream. Anybody who doesn't know Monty, that's my family garden. So I'm just trying to see if I can find these podcasts to link them later. Okay, so we got 8 people here now because obviously Dave's just left. What are we doing on the likes? I'll just check my phone because I find the one on here isn't always accurate. Let's see. Oh, no, it is accurate for once. So currently I am 10 subscribers away from 500. So hopefully before, I think it's the 3rd of March is when I created this channel. I'm hoping to try and get to 500 before then, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that would be good if anybody's got a so Nick's saying definitely we'll do a live again, probably Friday evenings. Yeah, okay, I'll keep an eye out for them then, because I've come along to a couple of your live streams. I do really enjoy them, but I always forget to see them when they pop up sometimes. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Because you're getting close to 1,000 now, aren't you, Dan? Are you 12 away or something? Something like that. Oh, thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that. Oh, you're over 1K now. Congratulations. Have you done a video about that then? I've obviously missed it. Shows how much attention I pay. I think it's because obviously last Saturday you didn't do a live stream, so obviously I didn't check out your channel then, so that's my excuse. Oh, it was only last night. Do a video tomorrow. Well, congratulations. So have you got your watch time now, or do you still need to work on that? I'll make sure I play your playlist after this to try and get you a bit of extra watch time. So I'm going for 45 minutes. I'll go to 50 minutes and then I'll begin to bring the live stream to an end. So for anybody who's interested in growing these perennial vegetables, I really recommend giving it a go, because instead of having to grow new plants and sow new seed and buy new seed each year, you can get the one plant, take loads of cuttings from it, or do whatever, or just have the one plant, and they go on for ages. So anybody who's interested, who's a gardener, interested in these perennial vegetables, I really recommend them, because it will obviously lower the carbon footprint of your garden, especially if you're like me and buy in the majority of the seeds that you sow. And they're very good producers, I find. So just, you got to make sure, obviously, you do give them plenty of fertilizer to keep them going, but there's still got quite a bit of watch time to go. Oh, that's a shame. But like I said, I'll put on your playlist after the live stream. Anybody who's interested in gardening and haven't already, in gaming, sorry, and hasn't already, please check out From the Geek Den's channel. There's some really good videos on there, and he's going to be doing a live stream in less than an hour's time. So I recommend checking that out if you're into gaming, or if you're watching it on the replay. So Nick's saying he still needs the watch time to get to 4,000 hours. Need to make more videos that get more views. Yeah. It's really challenging, because it equates to 240 minutes, and I've not done my first year yet, but I'm approaching it, and I've only done about 35,000 minutes. So it is a difficult one. My Gristolinia, how to take Gristolinia cuttings video, has done really well. I think it's on 1,600 odd subscribers currently. That's got me a lot of watch time. I think that got me roughly 10,000 minutes just on its own. And the good thing about that is, with any guide for any YouTube channel, doesn't matter what kind of videos you make, a guide, people will watch it to the end. If you want to get watch time, recommend live streaming. Yeah, it is the best way to get watch time, is to do live streams. I know that's a bit silly of me to say that when I've just been saying that, I've not been doing many live streams, but it is a really good idea to do live streams. I think my first live stream got something like 25 hours, so they do really help. So my first year anniversary is the 3rd of March, so fast approaching it now. Yeah, that's it, Geek Den. The only way, unless it goes viral. So another thing is obviously doing guides, like I said, because your viewers will watch it to the end, even if they're just average viewers and it hasn't blown up on YouTube or anything. Oh, you have done a few, actually. Because you did your seed one, and you did the one last night as well. So I'll have to try and rewatch that. I don't know why I completely forgot to have a look at it, because I normally check in the evenings for any live streams, but I just completely forgot last night to look for any. And for some reason, I've got the notification thing turned on for pretty much everybody's YouTube channel that I can, but I never get notifications for some reason. So if anybody knows why that is, please let me know, because it's really annoying. The amount of live streams I missed that I really wanted to go to because of the notifications not working. So thank you very much to everybody who's come along and everybody who's stayed. We've had quite a few people in here. Normally, I've only got like 1 or 2, so I really appreciate that to everybody who has come along. And again, anybody who's into gaming, From the Geek Den will be doing a live stream later tonight. And I think Aussie J will probably be doing a live stream either tonight or tomorrow night. So check that out if you're into gaming. But I think that's it from me. So Nick's saying, yeah, loads of people on the live last night. That's good, Nick. But yeah, sorry I didn't make it. I Don't know why I completely forgot to check. So we have now been going for 50 minutes. We got 9 people here and 18 likes. In 3 hours. There we go. So Aussie J will be live in 3 hours. From the Geek Den will be live in probably like 40 minutes now. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Obviously, you saw in my family gardens chat, I wasn't going to do one. I'd sort of lost my interest in it and just, stopped enjoying them. But I was convinced by everybody in the chat just to do a live stream tonight. I didn't really expect anybody to come along. So I do appreciate everybody who came along. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Geek Den. Thank you, Aussie J. I appreciate that. But yeah, night, everyone. Thank you very much for coming along. Bye.